County Commission for final approval. So we're so excited about that. All right. Next up, Susan, for public comment.
All right, Nikki McGuire.
I'm just going to step away to a minute.
Sure.
I'm going to go to your balcony. Yeah.
That's fine.
Do I have to wait for Commissioner Diane?
She's going back.
Okay, so I wait. Okay.
You want to wait?
All right.
I guess.
You want
Okay. Y'all want to take a
break?
break?
Yeah, let it take a break. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't really go. No, thank you. I appreciate the courtesy. Thank you.
Oh.
Oh, that's what's wrong.
The one that you spoke with? Yeah. This is not what. No, that's not right. He actually taught he's an agriculture teacher.
Oh, okay. I can see him right.
Yeah, he does. That's Miss Virginia. Is that the first woman that spoke?
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of hope.
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you so much. Thank
All right.
you for the consideration.
Let's go. Yep. Oh.
Commissioner Nestor.
Okay. All right. Nikki, go ahead.
Good evening again, commissioners and mayor and everyone in the rightful place. As a consumer, when we do not like a business, we shop elsewhere. As a business owner, when my business is not doing well, I review and revise practices without pushing clients away. As an Apopka city resident, when you guys make decisions against us, then it lowers my positive community impact. By choice, right now, I do during the summertime over 70 hours a week helping Naomi kids with helping the family in needs, raising up our future leaders. As a police volunteer, I still, after 70 hours, I still do police patrol. I do community events with the Apopka Police Department, and I also assist with birthday parties at the station while balancing my family needs and running my next business. My next plan was to start a food distribution in Apopka because during the summertime, I give out approximately 100 to-go boxes a week, plus serving free breakfast and lunches to the youths in our community. Unfortunately, with the 40% utility increase this year, with another increase next year, forces me to think selfishly of just my family and not the needs of the community I serve. I have an amazing spouse that is already carrying the bulk of our finances. So I'm asking you guys to please, I understand the city, it's in a hole, a deficit. However, we the citizens who are trying to help build our community should not be hit with a 40% increase all at once. It should be gradually because clearly someone has dropped the ball that the city has gotten so deep in the hole, it shouldn't be us, the taxpayer, having to give up everything else to do it. Just like a business where we were for an organization before, they raised the rent from $125 a week to $500 a week. We had to make the decision. We're here to serve the people. So what we did, we found a cheaper location because that would have meant increasing the rates for families who could barely afford in order to stay where we were. So I'm asking our elected officials, please guys, please consider what you're doing, not just to help the city make back money, but the impact many of us volunteers, many of us business owners, many of us citizens, taxpayers, what it's doing to us. Thank you.
Thank you. To confirm, we've shut off the live feed, correct? Okay. Just want to make sure.
Jennifer Jordan?
Anyway, you can switch. My kids are trying to watch, and they don't have Facebook, so I'm trying to get them to link. So can I go?
Sure.
Oh, you will go late? Okay, sure.
They want to see.
I'll be more than happy to go to.
Okay, come on.
I need 2 minutes here.
Taking that long to get up? I just wanted to say Ace Woodham, 47 East Magnolia Street. Long family history here in this town. I am so disappointed in you, Chair. There's a lot of people in this community, Mr. Mayor, your family, some of them, that are not healthy enough to get up here to see this, to see their local government in action. They depend on YouTube live streaming to watch what happens here, to watch how their money is spent, to watch what's going in next door. And you take that away from them. The arrogance of one person is it's unreal. And I want to go make a recall, Mr. Smith, I was talking to you earlier. On the last city council meeting, y'all voted on leaving it where it was at that meeting because it's already printed. The city attorney said that y'all as a commission has the right to vote on where to put public comment. Mr. Smith, Nick made a motion to move it back to the front. Commissioner Smith made a comment. Let's just leave it where it is today because it's already printed. And that way, if someone got up and walked out and knew they're coming back later, they still have an opportunity to talk. As a commission, y'all didn't vote on where it's located tonight. There's another unilateral decision made by one man. As a commission, y'all are bowing down to his feet and letting him tell you how to do your work, how to represent the citizens of this community. I'm asking you, the four of you, make your own decisions. If y'all vote on moving it to the end of the meeting, that's fine, but vote on it. Don't let one person make that decision. It's not fair to the citizens of this community. It's not fair for the people sitting in this room. We voted you in there, and I'm begging. I got a flag in my front yard. Let's make Apopka great again in 2026. It flies high. I hope we get the voters out no matter what way they vote. I sure would like to see the voters come out and do something this time. But this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you want respect, you should give respect. Show us some transparency. You might not have all these people here complaining. Let us trust you. We had no trust. And didn't you want to take our dignity away by telling us we can't talk? Or cutting it off? We come up here and give you our name, our address. Chair, what's your address? You want to give it out? No, you don't. We don't have to ID ourselves. I already checked it. It's not illegal. Mandatory to be done. But I pray to God that we get enough votes out in 2026 to get rid of you. That'd be the best blessing Apopka's ever received.
You ready? Oh, okay. Come on up.
Okay. Jennifer Jordan, 1254 Kenworth Drive. Good evening, members of the Apopka City Council. Thank you for the opportunity and time to speak to you today. As you are all well aware, our fire department is continuing to experience significant challenges that as we let more and more time go by without drastic changes, these challenges are going to negatively impact the future of the city's esteemed fire department. I've never spoken at these meetings before, but when is enough enough? How bad do things have to get? Moving on, so I don't run out of time, I'm going to skip around a little bit. Besides pay, the other two at the top of the three reasons employees leave a job is because of leadership and work-life balance. Effective leadership is the backbone of any successful organization, especially one that deals with life and death every single day. However, members of the current leadership are fostering a lack of respect and trust. This is about an overwhelming lack of support that starts at the top. It's about the men and women of the Apopka Fire Department that go home to their friends and family day in and day out, holding back emotions of what they witness and go through on every single shift. And for them to pour their hearts and souls into this career, knowing a certain member of the City of Apopka administration has such a personal negative vendetta against the entire department, that takes courage. That takes honor. And yet, I watch meeting after meeting, listening to public comment after public comment and commissioners' comments, begging for the IFD to be treated with the respect and dignity they deserve. It falls on deaf ears. It's a broken record. Thank goodness for Chief Will Sanchez. It's been a long time since the department had a glimmer of hope. I finally hear a level of promise in the future. However, the fact that our mayor has refused to meet with the interim chief is insane. Can things get worse when your own boss is allowed to ignore you? What is this city coming to? If I were a betting woman, I would bet that if Chief Will Sanchez was to be removed from his position, you will lose over a quarter of the workforce. That's not a threat, it's reality. And I don't know how you're going to staff up Station 7 if that happens. And I'm so glad that that deserves a smirk from you. Because that is serious. And that is the safety of the public. Finally, let's discuss work-life balance, or the lack thereof. There's no balance. This is an impossible career to leave the job at work. Something more needs to be done to address or offset this additional demand and stress on the employees. They have friends and family that deal with the implications of anxiety every single day. We are the ones that see this firsthand. We are the ones that listen to the stories about trying to save a lifeless drowning 2-year-old, or pulling a 9-year-old from wreckage knowing she wasn't going to make it, having her slip through your arms. We are the ones that deal with the coping mechanism required to handle the effects of this career choice. We are the ones that hold on for the ride, navigating alcoholism, anger, and depression. Let me switch. Sorry. First issue I want to bring up is safety. Sorry, again, I'm jumping around. The safety of both our firefighters and the residents they serve. Our firefighters work 24-hour shifts with 48 hours off, except when they work massive amounts of overtime. It's also not uncommon, especially at Station 1, for the crews to take back-to-back-to-back calls after midnight, running these calls on little to no sleep. Add in the fact that the workforce is diminishing and rapidly declining, which means there's a rapid decline in the amount of experience running these calls, thereby further straining the remaining staff. This situation is unsustainable. I urge the council to consider performing a call study to optimize the number of calls each station or unit is responsible for, and look at the types of calls that require dual units to respond, especially overnight. Why is it that Station 1 has 2 ambulance crews but only 1 engine that runs calls after hours? Does an engine really need to respond to a stuffy nose at 2 a.m.? Is that really what we consider difficulty breathing? And I'll spare you too much on training. The amount of training, especially online, that has been assigned as a knee-jerk reaction is ridiculous. I've watched my fiance do way too many trainings at home to check a box.
Thank you. Next up.
Okay. Virginia Street.
Let me just first say, my name is Virginia Street, 2119. Pull it more?
Pull the mic up.
The mic.
Yeah, there you go.
2119 Palm Vista Drive. I'm speechless, really. Because I feel like, I've been here 30 years, seen a lot of things happening here. I'm here today to talk about the Hope Ministry, and I call it a ministry. It is not a handout or anything like that. The people that volunteer their time, their money, their Sundays, while everybody else is doing Sunday Fun Day, we're out there face to face with the homeless, feeding them, listening to their concerns, trying to help them solve issues, trying to help them find their ID, get a new ID, all the things that are basic for us, that we can just turn the key and walk into our house. Sometimes we get tents for them, bicycles for them, just basic things. And if you really think about it, some of us are only one paycheck from being homeless ourselves. Okay, just look in the mirror real quick. So the thing that I'm concerned about is, first, I didn't like it that I got cut off earlier. Or maybe I didn't like how it was done. But I'll get over that. My number one concern right now is, what are we going to do with these people that have the same blood popping through their veins like mine? What are we going to do with them after October 1st, 41 days? What are we going to do with them? The first time I've heard of next was today. That should not be so. If it's so available, it should not be so. But people know about hope. You know, if I miss one Sunday, they ask me where I've been. You know, they looking for shoes every week. You know, they're looking for bus fare. I buy bus tickets and keep them in my car just to give them bus fare sometimes. And mind you, I got 4 grandkids, and I'm a retired IT manager. What I saw today up here is unexpected. It's unacceptable for leadership. Unacceptable. Unacceptable for senior leadership to have this type of tension in the public space. So I see why we can't feed people. I see why they're hungry. I see why they're living in the tents. All these vacant buildings we've got, that building right there, that Albertsons that closed, has been vacant for how long? And you tell me we can't put something in there so that they can at least have access to the internet, so they can at least have something hot to eat, so they can take a shower, so they can wash their clothes and feel like a human and look in their face and tell them, you know, how you doing? Sometimes this one gentleman tells me every week, nobody asks me how I'm doing but you. How does that make somebody feel? Nobody says how you do. If he doesn't see me, he says, I ain't seen you for 2 weeks. What's going on? He's asking me how I'm doing. Yeah, I might be the one dealing with some health issues, but I still get out there and help them, walker and all. What are we doing? We're not serving our community. We're letting them down. We got to do better. We got to do better. I'm going to work with Next.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk to you.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to you face to face. We've got to do something
You
better.
got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Hey, John Marlowe. Patty O'Halloran.
Thank you very much for your time and giving me the opportunity to speak. Patty O'Halloran, 304 Rolfe Drive, Apopka. I'm up here tonight to talk about Apopka Main Street. I know that they're looking for funding, and just from a citizen's point of view, I would like to tell you a little about what I know. When I heard about what they were doing with downtown Apopka, I got interested. So I got in contact with the committee, and I asked them if I could go to a meeting. I didn't go to just one meeting. They let me go to the meeting of every committee that they had. I met the people who were working on the committee. I listened to what they had to say, and I was very impressed with it. So when I heard about the meeting tonight, I just wanted to come in and say, number one, I'm old. That means it's a privilege. My family and friends come to visit me, and when they say, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? I don't want to stay Mount Dora. I don't want to stay Winter Park. I want to stay Apopka. Let's find something to do in Apopka. And it's not just about what are we going to do. It's about issues like lighting and safety and fixing sidewalks. So as a concerned citizen, I just wanted to get up here and say, please do something to help us so that when my family comes to visit me, I can say, let's go downtown Apopka. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming out.
Dennis Harper.
Good evening. Dennis Harper, 558 Nicole Marie Street. I'm coming to you tonight to voice my concern regarding public comment being moved to the end of the council meeting. as a citizen of this city for 4 years. It's very disappointing to see some of you feel it is okay to go to by how the agenda was published. Resolution 2016-16 states the City Council recognizes the citizens and taxpayers must be given a fair and reasonable opportunity to express their opinions on the operation of city government and encourages participation in a local government process. Based on this published resolution, this seems that you are discouraging public comment and not giving the city taxpayers the opportunity to speak on things before you discuss items on the agenda. Why come up to this podium and speak to a council that has already made a decision before the public can speak? Resolution 2016-16, Section 6, subsection B states, the City Council and city staff, encourage constructive criticism. Based on moving the public comment to the end of the meeting, you are not letting the city staff hear constructive criticism. Do I believe at times public comment has went too far? Yes. However, the same section states that the mayor shall determine whether the criticism is deemed inappropriately. Unfortunately, the lack of this discretion is being used means that it is purposeful to move the public comment to the end of the meeting. It was stated in the last meeting that the administration is protecting the city staff based off due to the lack of decorum. Of course, no one wants to come to work to have their work scrutinized in front of public. However, you are working in a public sector being reasonably paid by the citizens' tax dollars. If this is something a city staff cannot reasonably hear, then maybe they need to consider moving to the private sector. Florida Statute 268-0114 subsection 2 states, members of the public shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard on a proposition before the board or commission. Now, while researching this section, the word reasonable has not been argued or clearly defined, which is up for discussion. So this is what I would like you to ponder. Resolution 2016-16, Section 4, subsection AA, discusses public comment and states, this is an opportunity for anyone to come forward to address City Council on a matter relating to the city or the concerns of our citizens. This also includes any item discussed in previous workshops, not necessarily listed on previous agenda, but discussed at a previous council meeting, any item on the consent agenda, or any item on tonight's agenda not labeled as public hearing. So based on this section, how can you reasonably come to the conclusion that you have let the citizens voice their concerns when based on their published agenda that you have voted on consent agenda without hearing from the public? I hope and pray that you remind yourself by putting yourself in your own shoes as a citizen of Apopka, as most of you are, and how fascinating or how frustrating it would be not to be heard before a council votes on items that affects where you live. I hope you all can follow the published resolution and put the public comment back after presentations. I did do a study of 2024 regarding presentations in regards to the average. The average presentation or proclamation since 2024 of all the meetings averaged about 38 minutes and 20 seconds. Public comment averaged 29 minutes and 22 seconds. And lastly, based on this decision, it's made it very clear, especially tonight, that a weak mayor system needs to be placed in the city of Apopka. Thank you.
Albert McKimmey.
Albert McKimmey, 3603 Golden Gem Road. For all those people who can't view us on YouTube tonight but are watching on some other media, this is why our mayor doesn't want public comment. In these two volumes, there are over 300 pages of anomalies that have transpired at Golden Gem Road. I tried to speak about some earlier on tonight, and I'm not going to be adversarial, but I'm going to tell you I could probably save this city $1 million this week. So let me explain to you. You voted to pay $950,000 And it was for phase one, install a high capacity interceptor trench to capture groundwater and surface water and take it to the pond. Commissioners, you're not experts, but neither are you idiots. Because what are they asking to do here? They're asking to take ground and surface water and put it into the retention ponds. What did the DEP say you couldn't do? Take surface water and groundwater and put it into the retention ponds. But you voted for $950,000 to do that. Who's the fool today? Me? Because I'm treated like a fool, I'm treated like an animal. I don't get to present anything here. But let me tell you something. The high-capacity interceptor trench is basically a ditch. And the ditch is required because the city didn't put one in before. It flooded underneath the liner and caused the supersaturation that caused the sinkhole. It's going to happen again in other places in the pond. Now, you've spent money for Aquadam. The only thing you've really spent any money that's any sense on is a plug to plug a pipe. A couple $100 worth of plug. Here's the thing, commissioners. We're never going to be able to use Aquadam. So why don't we take the water, treat it, agree with GRD, and transfer it over to Parkview Preserve? Their phase one is only just occupied, so they've got this huge retention pond where we could be putting water across, provided it was treated, provided it was within FDP. The solutions that your experts aren't aware of, the solutions that your experts are giving you that are ridiculous. 400 cubic yards of material fell down the aquifer. And in 5 minutes with the calculator, if you want to take out your calculator, I'll show you why it's 5,000 tons. Here's the problem. If you don't listen to people like us who come here to try and tell you, you're not experts. You need to rely on us to show you figures and show you what's wrong and why it's going wrong. But if you don't give us time to present these, if you give us 4 minutes, I can't in 4 minutes tell you everything that's going wrong. At Golden Gem Road. But what I will tell you is everything that Devo has said, I can find another solution to it. The latest thing that's happened is I found another 7 volcanoes in Golden Gem Road retention ponds. Your experts said that could not happen unless there was a massive rush of water that was like a gunshot and caused these volcanoes to appear. It's nonsense. Do you want to see my pictures? I can show you them tonight. I have 7 volcanoes that have newly appeared. None of those things that Devo said that needed to occur occurred. 2 years prior to your pond collapsing, I found evidence of volcanoes and wet areas. But that's not the problem. What have you done since you spent that money? All you've done is dump tons and tons of rubble that came from a demolition site into that pond. It wasn't riprap it went in there. It was demolition rubble. Demolition rubble that contained carcinogens and asphalt. You said that all wells weren't a problem. I told you a month before Devo came here the wells were a problem. Commissioners, when Cal Becker was here, he answered us. None of you ever replied to us when we were on the podium.
Matthew Hutchinson.
Well, good evening. 1262 Lake Francis or 72 East Main Street. Well, I don't know where to start. I want to lend my support to the Main Street. So when it comes before you for funding, I think the presentation alone tonight warranted $50,000. I mean, we talked about $3 million for roads, $1.3 million for a forensic audit, $50,000 to help downtown. I'm just saying it's a pretty good investment. I think you'll see an ROI there. It's probably not tangible, but you'll see, and you're already seeing it now. You're seeing the downtown start to become more vibrant. And she's already put a lot of effort in at no cost, by the way. I'm thinking you work as a volunteer right now, don't you? Yes, yeah, so she's 100% volunteer, so I hope you'll take that into consideration. And honestly, I don't know why she didn't ask for more. But let me see. A couple other things. One, with all this happening tonight, it's a lot of negativity. I want to thank the fire department and the police department. They've been nothing but stellar. For me at 72 East Main Street, they have done a phenomenal job for the 2 years that I've been in there. And not to mention at my house. You know, we had a couple issues at the house where the fire department's there like that. So as bad as you think all the discourse is and whatever, the city's functioning pretty good when it comes to the fire department actually doing your job. I know there's congratulations on your contract today. The police department's been absolutely great. So there are a lot of bright spots, and I want to commend the city for that. I would like the city to consider when the ordinance comes in front of them to have a permit for the year, I guess it is, for barricades. If you haven't been downtown on Friday nights for the farmers market, it's happening. It's so happening that there's not enough parking. So if we can ever get you guys to agree to block off 5th Street, let the vendors get on the street and open up the additional 20. It's actually about, I think it's 25 spaces, what I counted, that are currently being occupied by the farmers market. Right now, if you're going to the farmers market, you feel invited to go across the street to the shops across the street, but there's no barricades. So sometimes there's traffic. You kind of let your guard down. So and there should be other events. There should be other events down there that hopefully they don't have to go through a permit every single week to get those roads shut off. So I just want to say with the, you now have Hicks Seafood. You've got a new soul food restaurant. You got Halls on 5th opening soon. Several churches. You got a bicycle shop. You got a couple of barbershops, 3 Odd Guys, Propagate, VFW, Pity Fitness. You got a baseball shop there, and you don't have enough parking. That's bottom line. We would never move there at 72 East Main Street if that parking lot hadn't been there. But it is too small, and it needs to be addressed. And so from Friday nights, farmers market, and then I would like you as a council to look at procuring some other land for parking purposes, whether it's over on 6th Street, wherever. It's not my job, but you guys got to find it. And I pay a lot of taxes, so so I'd like to see some of that come back. I guess that's all I have to say. Good luck to you all. I appreciate everybody. I think you're all, every single one of you, good-hearted people. Somehow you got to figure out how to work together, you know. So you have my support whenever you come to me. All right.
Thank you, Matt.
Leroy Bell, 2308 Blue Meadow Court. Apopka police might be working pretty good for you over here, but they ain't doing nothing for the black people.
You need to
over
address
there.
the council.
Well, to you.
The council.
To the council.
Okay, thank you.
You just spent in the budget that you put $180-some thousand that you parade the police department up in here. You give them all these accolades and all these citations that they're doing such a great job. You give $180,000 for the body cams, for transparency. Now, I'm still on it, yes. The police go over and tase a guy twice, get on his back, and beat him. And you, the commissioners, have nothing to say about that. That's fine, as long as it's over there across the track. You, as the commissioners, have failed the people across the track, along with the preachers in South Apopka. You have failed them. There's two kinds of justice. You got civil justice, and you got the UMCJ up under the Military Code of Justice. Up under the Uniform Code of Justice, even at wartime, they have articles up under the Geneva Convention, if I remember right, Article 44. Even if an enemy is shooting at you, if you take him into custody, you know he means you no good. You cannot harm him. You have to protect him, or you'll be court-martialed. But no, over in South Apopka, the commission said, it's all right to tase a young man in the back and beat him because he's running. Oh, everybody said transparency. Everybody said you're working for the citizens. Or you're working for a lame administration that don't care about nobody but himself and his enablers. What's happening to Apopka today? You're moving public comments to the rear to disenfranchise people. And we, people of color, should be somebody to stand up. You're always on Martin Luther King. You always throw out his sayings. You always quote black leaders and stuff, and you come and bend your will to this crook. When you going to wake up? You don't have any shame. How do you live with yourself? How do you sleep at night? What you need to do is put your lips on the Bible and get them off his hips.
First of all, thank you again, Commissioner Nesta. You currently have 50 people watching your live. The city's YouTube live amassed almost 400 views as of the ending of that live, so that's pretty cool. We live in a city full of potential, but that potential will only be realized if we, the residents, actively participate in shaping our future. It's easy to feel powerless in the face of government decisions. Too often, we hear about policies being passed, taxes being raised, or services being cut without understanding the full context or how we can influence these outcomes. When we don't speak up, when we don't ask questions, we give a silent consent to decisions that may not be made in our best interest. Let me give you a concrete example. The potential of a 40% increase in water services. Many of us, I'm sure, are deeply concerned about the impact this may have on our families, but may not know the full story behind it. And with all the eyes currently on this moment and on the city, I would like to kind of add a little bit of context to things. At the most recent budget meetings, it was discovered that once again, the city of Apopka cannot afford the cost of operations based on the funds available. Once again, we'll have to tap into our reserve savings. While the number at this time is still unclear, I think we'll find out next week. 8.1 million taxpayer dollars are subject to be used to balance our budget. What could be an option for a solution? Impact fees. Impact fees in the city of Apopka should be used to fund services like roads, transportation, public safety, water, sewer systems, etc. Currently, developers pay $8,000 for single-family developments like the ones we're seeing pop up all over town. You can imagine just $8,000 charge. That's not going to get very far with a 400-unit single-family development. Increase in traffic, public safety needs, etc., are now all set back due to our administration's inability to properly serve the community. While developers that build in Apopka pay on average $8,000, other municipalities like St. Cloud, which is a city just slightly larger in size and in population, are charging $20,000 in impact fees for the same type of developments. Meanwhile, here in Apopka, instead of charging the developers their fair share, our city leadership has proposed this water increase as an answer to the poor strategic planning and our slowly failing infrastructure, thus leaving us as citizens to foot the bill. This is not just about water bills, it's about fairness, accountability, and above all, transparency. Please keep in mind, the people you see sitting up on the dais work for you. We need to ensure that the leadership of the city enforce that developers are paying their fair share so that we aren't paying for their profits. My best advice, educate yourself. Know your rights, understand the laws and regulations that govern our city. This information is available, and if you don't understand something, please ask. I'm available if you have any questions. Trust me, though, your involvement in this process will take time. I now work a full-time job. Back in my heyday, this is all I did, was drove people crazy in the city. But now I have a job, so I totally get that it's completely difficult to keep up with this stuff. But be consistent. Learn how to speak to the city. Getting up here and screaming, it's not efficient. I don't agree with the method. There are proper channels and procedures for raising concerns, submitting complaints, and making your voices heard. Attending meetings like this one, writing to your council members, and participating in public forums gives you the opportunity to engage with our community members. Running out of time. Basically, don't allow apathy and ignorance lead your decisions when it comes to your involvement locally. I see a lot of new faces, and that's really exciting. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's the same people every week, so I appreciate y'all for coming out. But yeah, get involved. Thank you.
I got to take a minute and do this. Sylvester Hall, 3901 Rolling Hills Lane. I was just reading an article in the Apopka Chief where we was considered zoo animals, and we smell like zoo animals. So I came in tonight to look good, and I smell good. You know what I'm saying? I look good and I smell good. But as I always say, in the city of Apopka, state of Florida, and in our country, we had a national crisis. Too many good people watching bad things happen and sit around and just being completely silent. It's time to say no more. We say we want love, we want understanding, we want respect. But if you guys can come out and take a look at what we saw up here, and then you asking us for love and respect. Too often, we normalize the abnormal. When we normalize the abnormal, we desensitize the truth to the point the truth don't matter. Take a look at what's going on in our country. People will have the truth and still turn the other cheek. We start the meeting off with a prayer. Then we start our fight. Strong mayor. I want to just paint you guys a picture because we have a strong mayor, former governor here in the city of Apopka. Just think if you had a strong mayor that was for the people. The gentleman back there wouldn't have to ask for his $50,000 because a strong mayor would be seeking out people that's willing to do something for the downtown Apopka area. Downtown Apopka been the same thing, the same way for over what, 40, 50 years? So you wouldn't have to come to me. I'll be looking for you. Now I want to say about when we're talking about companies coming here. Up on this panel, I have 4 minorities, but yet and still, we made a motion to. One of our black females made a motion to disband DEI. 50% of the city of Apopka is minority, almost 50%. So what we're telling our minorities, we don't believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. We don't believe in that. So I look at how everything took place and we say, well, the members, the committee, they lost interest. No, we didn't lose interest. Our mayor wanted us to be an event planner. That's not what DEI does. And so we said, no, most of them said we out here. I stuck in, I stayed. I was there through the meeting. The mayor was the chairman. You might say he was the chairman. He come there, he dictate everything that's going to be done. Sometime when we get there, we just read the agenda. This is what's going to happen. Had no input, but we're supposed to be hosting the event. Now I want to move faster to the fire department. Who on here believe that the fire department pension, that they don't deserve the same pension the police officers, the police department deserve? Raise your hand. If you don't believe they deserve the same pension, raise your hand. I went to station 4 and talked to the guys for about 2 hours. I go through their living quarters. It's an open bay, and you just got an open room with beds in it. Some of them have females. So how's that? They got a room where they work out and kick their equipment. There's no ventilation. And it gets over 100 degrees. But we love our firefighters. And they had to fight. Thank you for the contract, but they had to fight to get there. People like myself had to come up and campaign for that. So what I'm saying, if you had a strong mayor, your city would look different. From 2018, the police department will have their facilities built.
Thank you.
The fire department will have their pension. It's all about who you vote for.
I'm back. Caitlin Kashada, Main Street Apopka. With me tonight, I have Maribel Brinkle, president of the Apopka Historical Society, and Betsy Salcido, a member of the Main Street Apopka team, to present some very exciting news. The Smithsonian is coming to Apopka. Florida Humanities, in partnership with the Smithsonian Institution's Traveling Exhibition Services, also known as SITES, has launched a new exhibition partnership program and selected Main Street Apopka as an inaugural recipient. Out of 24 interviewed organizations and 13 applicants, 8 nonprofit organizations across the state of Florida received funding from Florida Humanities in June of this year to create exhibitions that capture and share local narratives on food, utilizing templated resources as well as virtual and in-person support from the Smithsonian Institution. SITES provides a Smithsonian-developed framework to guide selected venues through the development of local humanities-based exhibitions using our own collections and cultural content. So it was only natural to partner with the Apopka Historical Society and the museum to create such an exhibition. We have received an initial grant funding of $5,000 from Florida Humanities to work with the Smithsonian over the next year to create our exhibition script, collect physical objects, artifacts, and images, and design a floor plan. We will then fabricate and install the exhibition within the walls of the Apopka Museum in early to mid 2025. There will be monthly programming, special events, interactive stations, partnerships and sponsorship opportunities, and more to accompany this project, and we look forward to exploring the foods that define us.
Good evening, everyone. While working on our exhibition project, we will receive guidance from the Smithsonian on how to design and develop compelling exhibitions that highlight our local history and culture through the lens of food. By incorporating local elements directly into the exhibition, we will have a unique installation addressing this national theme curated by the Smithsonian. We are thrilled to partner up with Main Street Apopka on this project as we endeavor to connect old Apopka to new Apopka, utilizing a dynamic team of historians, curators, designers, and educators. We will also look to recruit a volunteer advisory team from members within our community who are experts in the subject of food, restaurant owners, chefs, local food enthusiasts, and everyone in between is invited to apply to be a part of this team by visiting www.mainstreetapopka.com/forwardfood and filling out the online form. Very excited that the Smithsonian is coming. It will bring about a community proud. So we're looking forward to presenting that exhibit.
Betsy Salcedo. I live at 1926 Abington Street. This project is a highlight of the Main Street Apopka program because food brings people together. Apopka is a rich blend of cultures, ages, and lifestyles, and this project will provide a unique, hands-on platform for our community to be celebrated. As part of this celebration, this exhibit will be translated into both English and Spanish. Este proyecto resalta el programa de Main Street Apopka, porque la comida une a las personas. Apopka tiene una abundante mezcla de culturas, edades y estilos de vida. Y este proyecto provee una plataforma única con manos a la obra en la que celebraremos nuestra comunidad. Como parte de esta celebración, esta exhibición será traducida en inglés y español.
All right. Well, thank everybody for coming out tonight.